Hello and welcome to Big Friendly Grub. I hope you are well. Right, I'm going to level with you guys. This is not the video I had in mind for today. I had in mind of starting like a series of Christmas videos of Christmas related recipes and things like that. Obviously in the lead up to Christmas at the moment, it is now December, which is so weird because where the heck has the year gone? But I'm going to level with you. I went for a 20-kilometer run this morning and I am now dead. D-E-D, dead. I am completely knackered and I don't think I am up for shooting like complicated like Christmas recipes and trying to do them justice. I kind of misplanned this. I went for the run and then came back and realised that my legs were going to fall off, or I certainly feel like they were going to fall off. So I don't want to leave you without a video. So I've decided to do something that is very little effort, which means it's very little effort for me. But in the good news, it will also mean that it's very little effort for you. So we all win, especially my legs, because they are aching so much. But anyway, what I've decided to do today is something for my dinner, basically, so I can kill two birds with one stone, do a video for you and some food for me, win-win. And what I'm going to show you how to do is some slow cooked in the oven barbecue style ribs. Because everyone loves ribs except vegetarians and vegans, and obviously they don't. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to do a very simple ribs recipe and also how to just make some nice simple coleslaw to go with it, because you kind of want that freshness of a coleslaw to go with the rich and sticky ribs. So I'm going to shut up and just get on with it, because I'm sure you'll be glad about that. Right, before we do anything, you need to know what kind of ribs we're using. So I am using pork ribs here, and these are what we call over in the UK as loin ribs. You can pick them up from pretty much any supermarket. I got these from my local supermarket. If you're in the US, you may well know them as baby back ribs. I don't know why they're called that over in the US. I'm sure someone can explain it to me. I haven't bothered to look it up, but that's what you call them over there. And these are most commonly used in most pork rib recipes. Sometimes they'll come in a big long rack, but these have been in like pieces, basically halved. So these are the ones we're using. But before we do anything with the actual ribs, we need to create a rub to go onto the ribs to give us loads and loads and loads of lovely flavour. We've got a little bowl for my rub, and we are going to add in loads and loads of different spices into here. So I'm going to add in a tablespoon of smoked paprika. This will give it a really lovely smoky flavour, obviously, because it's smoked paprika. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of cumin powder. Before you ask, yes, I am making this up as I go along. I've done similar things before, but I always kind of vary up the recipe depending on what's in my cupboards. So I'm going to add in here probably about a teaspoon's worth of onion granules and a teaspoon's worth of garlic granules. I'll give it a teaspoon's worth of cayenne pepper. I've just put that in there because I fumbled my line as I was speaking it. I can't talk, I'm so tired. But yeah, cayenne pepper for a nice kick. I'm going to add in a teaspoon of mustard powder because mustard goes really well with pork, it just does. A little bit of salt, not too much because pork is quite salty anyway. A good grind of ground black pepper. And then last but by no means least, we're going to add in probably a couple of tablespoons worth of soft dark brown sugar. I'm doing this by eye really because I know roughly how much a tablespoon is. That's probably it. There might be slightly more, but I don't mind because the sugar here is going to give it a lovely sweetness, but also like a nice caramelization on the rub as well. So this is very, very important. Make sure you include this. And then we just work this all together with our fingertips just to create a nice rub. That's come together and that smells absolutely amazing. It's got such a nice combination of spices in there and it's going to go so well on our pork. Then I'm going to bring back our ribs and get this rubbed all over it.
Give your meat a good old rub. Give your meat a good old rub. Give your meat a good old rub. Yeah, boy.
Really, really want to work this into the pork ribs as much as you possibly can. And if you've got any of this rub left over afterwards, try and keep one hand for the rub and one hand clean. So you can kind of mix and match and keep any contamination out of there, because if you do have any of this left over, then you can actually bag it up and use it another day. Make sure you get underneath as well, you don't want to miss any of it. Right, that's our ribs all coated nicely in the rub. So what we need to do now is just get this wrapped up. This is what's going to keep the heat enclosed in our ribs. and allow us to have a nice slow cook on these. So wrap it up, as they say. Don't know who says, well, a lot of people say wrap it up. That's referencing something else, which I won't go into here. This is a family show. Make sure it's sealed, nice and tight. There we go. So these can now go into the oven. See, wasn't that quick? Right, I've got my oven on roughly 120 degrees C. I'll put all the conversions into Fahrenheit and all the recipe and ingredients, etc. in a link below in the description, down here somewhere. We can now whack these into the oven for a good 3 hours. Yep, 3 hours. It takes a while, but it is nice and simple. So yeah, you can just go off and do something else. In my case, I'll be going off and sitting down once I've shown you the next step. So up with this, and I will now show you the nice barbecue sauce that we're going to make to go onto this, or rather barbecue glaze, and we'll be putting onto this in the next step. Right, when our ribs eventually come out of the oven, we are going to then coat them in a nice barbecue glaze to then give them a nice sticky sweet coating. What we're going to need is some barbecue sauce. I have already bought some here. Usually I would probably make it myself, and I do want to show you guys how to make barbecue sauce at some point, but again, we're going for quick rather than complex today, mostly to save my legs. So I'm going to put in a couple really good squeezes of that into here. You can go for any one. I've kind of gone for a steakhouse one, which sounded quite nice. People will say they have to use that on a steak, but I'm a rebel, and quite frankly, who cares? I've already got the pan over medium-high heat, by the way. It's a 6 on mine, but your mileage may vary. And I'm going to give it a nice big squeeze of honey, because that will give us, again, a nice sweetness, a stickiness, and a really nice shine. And then to mix things up a bit, I thought I would add in some Coca-Cola into this, because Coca-Cola glazes are really, really nice. There's so much sugar in Coke that it's perfect for things like this. That's why you see so many like barbecue things done with Coke and stuff like that, because the sugars in it is just absolutely perfect for this kind of thing. But while I was in the supermarket, I saw this, which is a Coca-Cola signature mixers, which is specifically used for mixing with whiskies and things like that. This one is a smoky one, and I thought this would actually go really well into this. There's no point in me using it as a mixer because I don't drink anymore, although I would have been all over this when I did. And yeah, I will be interested to see how this works. It's a bit of an experiment. If you can't get hold of these, or you don't want to stump up the extra 40p or whatever it is for one of these, then you can just use normal Coke. It's entirely up to you. I wonder what this tastes like by itself. Yep, that's basically a smoky Coca-Cola. That's alright, but not something I drink by itself. So I'm going to add this into here a little bit at a time. Bring this up, and we're going to bubble this down to become a nice thicker sauce and glaze. So I'm just going to add in the Coke a bit at a time. But we will speed things forward through the magic of time, so you don't have to wait around for me and let me ramble. Right, that's all of the Coke in, and then I'm going to bring this up to a boil pretty much, and then lower the heat so it can simmer down and thicken up and become a nice glaze. So you can see that is boiling up, so I'm now going to turn the heat down, stir this so it doesn't boil over, and yeah, I'm just going to let this simmer down now into a nice thick glaze, but not too thick because we don't want it to completely set or crystallize for when we use our glaze on our pork ribs later. Right, our glaze has now had a good probably about 12 to 15 minutes just simmering and bubbling away over a medium-high heat, and it is now simmered down and thickened up to a fairly nice consistency where we'll be able to brush it over our pork ribs later, and these will then go back into the oven once they're brushed with the glaze, and they'll go under the grill for probably about 12 to 15 minutes again, and this will just help them get a nice sticky, sweet and very, very flavoursome glaze and crispiness to them, and it will be fantastic. So this is good. I'm going to pop this to one side for us to use later, and then we can get on with our coleslaw because I've been doing some prep for that. Right, to make life without coleslaw even easier, I am using my food processor for this, but you could do this by hand if you've got very good knife skills and can chop very finely. I don't know why I said that 3 times, that's just how my brain worked today. But yes, as long as you can chop finely, you'll be absolutely fine without one of these. But I'm feeling lazy and I'm going to use one of these. I'm going to use the coarse grate on this. I could do with a fine grate, but that would be too fine. Then for our coleslaw, I'm going pretty basic. I've got a couple of carrots, fairly good size, 1 red onion, and a good chunk of white cabbage. But you could use other cabbage if you want. You could use like a sweeter cabbage or anything like that, really. I think this one works very, very nicely. And pop those in half. See, seconds I tell you. Onions. And the cabbage. Oh, if it fits. Oh, I'm just getting it everywhere now. I'm being too slapdash with this. And there we go, that is a very fine coleslaw. Well, actually no, we need to add some more stuff to this, but this is our base for our coleslaw. Right, to turn this into an actual coleslaw rather than just a bowl of shredded up vegetables, we need to add some extra things to this. So into this, I am going to be adding a nice squeeze of a juice of a lemon, because we need a bit of sharpness, I think, in our coleslaw. But to counterbalance that, I also like to add in a good spoonful of just some caster sugar, because that then gives us a little bit of sweetness to counterbalance the acidity. Then of course, most people will have mayonnaise in their coleslaw, so I'm going to give it a few good squeezes of this seriously good mayonnaise. Their claim, not mine. So that should do. And if you're thinking, that doesn't look like enough mayonnaise, well, what I like to do is, because if I find that if a coleslaw is made just of mayonnaise as the base of the sauce type part of it, it becomes too claggy, it's really heavy, and it's really not that refreshing. So I like to add in a nice couple of big spoonfuls of creme fraiche. That just lifts it, makes it a bit lighter, and it's not so, dense and claggy and horrible. I mean, the stuff that you get from the shops in the tub is blooming awful. So I find this just really lifts it and just gives it a bit of freshness to it. And then I'm just going to fold this all through just to coat all of our coleslaw. It's a heck of a lot of coleslaw, so I'll have some for the next couple of days as well, which is great. Because I do really like coleslaw when it's homemade, but not so much, as I said, from the shops. Right, that's all mixed through. Then I just forgot just to add a pinch of salt. Just always season your food. Don't need a lot, just to bring out the flavours. Quickly mix that through as well. And give it a quick taste. Yeah, really good, really light and fresh. Perfect for me. Like I say, your mileage may vary. You might want to swap things out, but for me that works really well. That is so light and fresh, and it's complete opposite to what you get in the shops. That's our coleslaw done. Our glaze is done. Our pork ribs in the oven. So all I need to do now is go and sit down for a couple of hours, and we can come back later and take the pork ribs out of the oven and apply the glaze to it. So yeah, at this stage, just go off, relax, clean up, whatever you need to do. So we'll be back in a bit.
2 hours later.
Right, it has been approximately 3 hours-ish that these have been in the oven. So I think now is a good time to take them out. Oh, they smell fantastic. And they look also fantastic. They smell amazing. I'm just going to get some of these juices and just pour them back over, because we want to make these nice and succulent ribs. So don't waste this, it's all flavour. And then let's just brush over our glaze onto these ribs. Got plenty here, so be generous. This is going to give us a lovely, sticky, flavoursome glaze on top of this, just to accentuate all those flavours in the rub that we've got. And I really wish we had smell-o-vision at the moment, just because this all smells so good. Right, that's our glaze all over our ribs. Now I'm just going to tuck this under, and I'm going to get these back into the oven under the grill for probably about, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes. I've not used this grill in this oven before, so I'm totally going to keep an eye on it, because I don't want to burn these to a crisp, but a bit of charring will be very nice. So I'm going to pop these back into the oven under the grill, just see how we get on with these. This tray has cooled down now, so don't worry. Right, in they go, and they will have about 10 to 15 minutes, we'll see. Right, first things first, ignore the potatoes. Those are just ones that I'm going to have with the ribs and the coleslaw when this video is done. Don't need me to show you how to do those, because you just boil some potatoes, so don't worry about those. But the ribs, they have had about 7 or 8 minutes under the grill, and I think now at a point where they can come out, because you can see, whoa, those are starting to char, and I'm also setting off my oven. Me and my oven have issues sometimes, but you might be able to see how nice and charred those are getting. And let me just bring those in. Look at that, look how lovely char, bubbling, sticky, and amazing camera work. But those are looking fab. What I'm just going to do is set up the camera again, brush a last bit more over here, just add a bit more lovely sticky glaze to these. And these are pretty much ready to go. I just need to wait for my potatoes. But potatoes are just starting to go. So let us cut to where we can try these, or I can try these, because I am so hungry. Oh mother, look at these babies. They look fantastic and they smell fantastic. As I was transferring them onto the plate, I got some of the sauce onto my fingers, and I licked the sauce off my fingers because that's what you do. And that sauce just tastes so nice. It's sweet and sticky and really, really lovely. But of course, the proof is going to be in the eating of the ribs. But you can see there's some lovely juicy meat there. And I've already cut one off because I'm going to have to try those in the mo. And it's not going to be elegant at all. But they look and smell amazing. And I need to try one right now. So I'm going to switch over to the usual setup for tasting things, and we will give this a go because I can't wait. There is a shot that is so sexy that it may well get banned off Instagram if it had its own account. Yeah, that looks really, really good to me. And it takes a little while. 3 hours is a long time, but as you saw, it's pretty simple. Just a quick rub, and then lather your sauce over the top of it. Where am I going with this? Just a simple rub and a simple sauce like glaze, and a quick coleslaw as well. And you're done, really. You can add whatever you want to it. I've got my potatoes here, minty potatoes, because I love those. It just smells so good. And it's perfect for when you've had a busy day and you just want something that you can put in the oven and kind of forget about and don't have to do too much. And I think it's time to give things a go. I'm going to try the coleslaw again, but I did taste that earlier and I already knew it was good. It's lovely and fresh. That is good coleslaw. The creme fraiche, I really think, helps lift it. And like I said, it doesn't make it as claggy or heavy as like pure mayo does. It's got a real nice crisp freshness. And that's lovely. Now I've got to try and eat this rib. There's going to be no pretty way to do this, so I'm going to put the plate down and just dig in, because it looks good, it smells good. And it tastes good. You get lovely, sticky, sweet glaze on it, but then underneath in the rub you get like a bit of heat from the cayenne. You get all those spices and flavours. It is so lovely. They're not as tender as they would be if you'd done them in like a slow cooker or something like that, but they've still got a real nice, they're not like tough or anything, but they've also got a nice bite to them, which is great, because sometimes they can be super messy. For me, I think for ribs this size, this is a real good bite to them. I'm just gonna have another bite, speaking of bites. Sorry, making all kinds of noises, getting sauce over my face and my fingers and everything else. But it's completely worth it. This is perfect for me today. Busy day, long run. Just treat myself with some really nice sticky ribs. So good, so simple, and you really should give them a go. I'm going to put that down for a second, and I am going to wash my hands, and then we'll come back and do the outro. Right, I'm all clean now, at least in body, if not in mind. And that's it for a rather impromptu Big Friendly Grub. Impromptu, off the cuff, whatever you want. It wasn't the one that I had planned, but I didn't want to leave you guys without a video this week. I'd kind of stretched myself too far, and I wouldn't have been able to do the planned Christmas videos that I wanted. And besides, I haven't got any decorations or anything like that. So I'd rather go out, get a few decorations, make everything a bit more festive, feel a bit more festive, and then do these Christmas videos when I've got more time and I'm not exhausted. So hopefully this was a nice interim video just to give you a nice idea for a dinner. But we worked a bit off the cuff. and hopefully it worked. To be honest, those ribs are super tasty. You know, the sauce is so good, and I can still taste it now, and I've got the heat still in my mouth, and it's so good. So I really do suggest, you know, give it a try, and the coleslaw is easy as well, and it's going to give a nice balance to that sweet and sticky ribs. Oh. But anyway, that is it from me this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. All the usual stuff. If you did, like and subscribe, etc, etc. And hopefully we will see you next week for some Christmassy Big Friendly Grub. So I will see you then. Bye.